Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome to my special show. This is the Inspiring Change Show. How would you like to be inspired? Hearing everyday stories from everyday people, sometimes not every day. Maybe they're Hollywood actors, as in my next guest. Do you know him? Do you recognize him? Yes, yes, the very cute, the very adorable Ralph Malph. However, he actually is a real human. That's just a character he plays on TV. I know. Don't be disappointed. But he is every bit as lovely. He is every bit as funny. And without further ado, I'd like to welcome my guest. Please welcome Don Most.
Hi, Shannon. So nice to be with you. Thank you.
Nice to be with you too. You are an absolute doll. I just want to say thank you again for saying yes. I mean, oh my gosh, the things that, uh, in a way, the pandemic. I think we talked about this before. In a very weird way, has been a blessing but a curse in some sort of way.
Yeah.
If you had told younger Shannon, who used to watch you with her mom on happy days, that we would be standing here today. Actually, I feel like we're friends now because we've interacted so often. It's not just so much in this professional capacity. So anyway, thanks for saying yes. Hello.
Well, it was easy to say yes to you. Um,
Oh,
we have had a little bit of communication, and then during that Zoom party, or whatever it was for Project Viral, and yes, we actually got to meet, kind of virtually meet,
hmm.
and so I was very impressed with everything you've done and your whole uh, energy. So it was very easy to want to come on and talk with you again.
Thank you. Thank you. And
Sure.
one of the things in being part of, the vignettes and the things that you've been doing as well and being able to support that is just seeing the fan interaction and the engagement, but just how you handle all that. I mean, everyone has, the affection for you, of course, from their happy days, but my goodness, that was the 70s and a lot of time has passed since then.
Yeah. Oh,
And you are so much more than that actor. I mean, kudos. If people have wonderful memories, that's great. But you are a singer, you've done so many other things, and you're also a director, and then you have a production. There's so many different facets to you
mm.
that I find intriguing. And mostly,
Mostly,
mostly
yes.
this.
Oh, I love that. Isn't that something? Wow, I was 14, turning 15 that summer, and I was singing in nightclubs, if you can believe it, up in the Catskill Mountains, which was a resort area upstate New York, and they had a lot of hotels with nightclubs. It was a pretty
Uh-huh.
famous area. It was in the movie, I guess, that Dirty Dancing took place in the Catskills, and probably around the same time I was there. Unbelievable memories, and yeah, I started pretty young, and singing, as I would say to people when I'm doing my shows, it was my first love.
Right.
Before, I mean, I knew acting was there, kind of, and I wanted to pursue it, but initially it was really singing. But then when I turned right after that summer, about a year later, I wanted to switch gears a little bit, and I got into a more serious acting class and focused on that. Put the music aside for a while, and got really laser focused on acting. And then I was around 16, and then it was 4 years later when I went out to California, and I wound up getting a lot of work in New York, and um, mostly commercials, a little TV.
Where are you originally from?
I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, in the Flatbush section of Brooklyn, and went to Erasmus Hall High School, a very well-known school that had famous alumni like Barbara Streisand and Neil Diamond and Lainie Kazan and even Barbara Stanwyck and Eli Wallach, a lot of people. And yeah, so grew up in the streets of Brooklyn, and then would take the subway into Manhattan for my singing, acting classes, and all that kind of stuff.
So, at what point was the turn for you to go, you know what, singing isn't really the career choice at this point. Let me put a pin in it, and I'm going to go to California and be an actor. Like how does that come along? And maybe times have changed a little bit for other aspiring actors today, but just what was the
Yeah.
change for that?
Well, like I said, I started. I think what happened was I started. I always loved watching movies, and TV. All the different shows. When I was younger, I watched a lot of the comedians and loved, Abbott and Costello and George Burns and Gracie Allen. I was huge fans and people like that, and Jack Benny. But as I started, when you got into the mid late '60s, there was a real a surge of wonderful films that were almost like what we look at as independent films now. But the studios were making some of these films, and it was movies like The Graduate with Dustin Hoffman, and then Midnight Cowboy with Dustin Hoffman, and movies like that. And I started really getting into that, and then I saw a movie. I was 17, called Five Easy Pieces, starring Jack Nicholson, one of his second big film. He had done Easy Rider before that, but seeing Jack for the first time for me in Five Easy Pieces was like, whoa! He became my acting hero, and that's when I really went after going into a class that was a serious acting class in New York City, and wanting. I was so inspired, and then but other actors too in that era, like I said, Dustin Hoffman and Paul Newman. There were a bunch of his films that I watched, and I became a huge fan, and then people like then Pacino and De Niro started coming out with The Godfather, and um, so that's what was the change for me, and I really put my attention into acting, and I was able to get a manager, and then she got me meetings with certain agents, and then I started going out on auditions, and because I had red hair and blue eyes, and the agents, I guess it was an easy sell for them to get me out for commercials,
Hmm.
and I started doing really well. I did like 40 of them in 4 years, while I was 16 to 20, and then I was going to college in Lehigh University in Pennsylvania, and I was that was the backup plan. My parents wanted me to at least have a college degree,
I have
so
this.
I love that. Yeah. Oh, that was the first year of Happy Days when I was about 20. So, so what happened? Yeah, so college, and I was doing. Uh, I guess I should stop because you're moving into some other stuff. Should I? Should
No, no, please keep going.
I?
I'm just showing pictures of
Yeah,
your
yeah.
of your
Sort of
what was
evolution.
was this your headshot that you submitted or?
This was later. This shot was probably while I was doing Happy Days, and I was getting concerned that I was only going to be associated with that character of Ralph.
Oh, I see.
And like you said, I'm not like the character I played. I wasn't the funny guy in the room. When I was in high school, I was very more the quiet, the audience to the friends who were the comedians. I was not the comedian. So, but it was a part that I was playing. That to me is what I
Hmm.
love, is playing different people. So that picture, I deliberately grew that beard. That year I was probably about 24, fourth season of Happy Days, I'm guessing, and wanted to show myself in a different way so that I wouldn't be limited to just playing somebody like Ralph.
Understood. So just so going back to so you're off to Hollywood.
Yeah,
And
well,
if I
yeah,
understand correctly, did you not say, or Anson, I think, said that you were going for Potsy's role,
yeah,
and is that
yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so what happened was after those 4 years that I mentioned, and I was doing well in commercials, um, had a couple of small TV things in New York, but not much television was being shot in New York then.
Hmm.
It was more out in LA, movies too. So I went out to LA for the summer after my junior year in college to try to get some contacts but I started getting, I auditioned for several things and landed a few guest starring roles. And then that led to me staying in LA, not going back for my senior year in college, and landed a few more parts. And then it led to me getting an audition for Happy Days. But I was auditioning for Potsy, and I had several rounds of auditions and then a screen test with a bunch of other actors who were reading for Potsy, and the other half were reading for Richie. And so my agent called me a few days later, said, "You didn't get Potsy. They're going, with Anson Williams and Ron Howard, who had done a pilot earlier of Happy Days, which didn't sell. So this
Mm.
was a second time around. Anyway, but they said the executives liked your screen test so much that they decided they wanted to put you in the show, and they want to create a role for you. There was a part in the pilot episode of a guy named Ralph Malph, and it was had a couple of small little scenes in it, but they said, well, it'll become a regular. So that's how that came about. Yeah, I was auditioning for Potsy. And
Oh my gosh. It's so incredible though, in terms like from the entertainment business part of it, how they created that role for you, but it was only supposed to be such a small part, but how that character, like that ensemble, how it evolved.
yeah,
Like you were a huge part of that.
yeah, it,
Not just a few
it, it,
lines.
it definitely, yeah, it definitely evolved. I mean, they said I would be in, like 10 out of 13 episodes, they guaranteed. But in the beginning, if you look back there, I was a peripheral character, and there was a real evolution where same thing with Henry Winkler as the Fonz. If you look at the season one, we weren't even in the opening credits. Henry and I were at the end where it said also, you know, or co-starring, whatever. And we were at the end credits.
Hmm.
But we started, the producers and writers saw what we were doing, and they were responding to it and started giving us more and more to do. And there was a real evolution, and that to the point where then Ralph became more like one of the guys with Potsy and Richie. It was Potsy, Richie, and Ralph and Fonzie.
Hmm.
So if you watch it in its sort of sequential, in the chronological order that was shot, you definitely see how it changed, and it grew. The show grew in many ways.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, gosh, even the Fonz wasn't the Fonz. He didn't have a leather jacket, if I recall.
Yeah, he had a cloth
And
jacket at the beginning, and
yeah.
there was
And
a
then
whole.
something we always wondered, where the heck did like how do you just eliminate a brother?
I know we get that all the time. I hear that question a lot. Um, well, they didn't totally eliminate him because they said he went off to college, and then in another season they hired a different actor to play him when Richie wanted to move in with Chuck. It was a different actor, and then
Right.
I think there was even a third episode later with a different actor as Chuck. Um, I think at the season one, uh, what happened was that they realized the stories were going in the direction of the four guys and the family, but Chuck, they didn't know what to do. They kind of established him as the dumb jock. He'd come dribbling a basketball through the living room and say something that was not that bright and go up to his room, and there wasn't much more for him to do. And I think the actor was like feeling like this isn't right. I don't know if he wanted to continue. He didn't, I guess, have a contract. So they told me it was a mutual
Hmm.
decision that they'd let him go, and he's off to college. And then when they needed Chuck, they hired somebody else, and that
Right.
kind of thing.
Well, like I said at the beginning, you have so many hats and so versatile. Gosh, I don't even know where to start. I mean, there's so many different things of evolution in terms of your music career. I've got a couple of albums here that album
Oh,
covers and of your stage. And so let's talk about where you kind of went with your acting. before
Okay.
we go into the music and
Sure.
typecasting. How challenging was that for you? I mean, again, here we are, like years later. You have so many things under your belt. You've got Star Trek. You have voice acting work. You have things that are like relevant today. I watched a really cool one with you and Loretta Swit.
Oh,
Middletown. Was it Middletown?
Middletown. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
you saw the live stream of that, huh?
I did. Yeah, I
Uh-huh.
got the ticket and watched the live stream of that, which was really incredible. So,
Oh, great.
the acting on that was, if folks, if you have a chance to watch it, check it out for sure. It was like this on a range of emotions and took you through a
Oh,
journey.
yeah,
And wow,
yeah.
wow, wow. Nostalgic aside, with Adrian Smed, Loretta Swit, yourself,
And
Didi Khan
uh,
from My Favorite Grease.
yeah.
I honestly, not many things leave me speechless, and that was one of them. The
Oh,
acting
oh,
was very, yeah, it was
yeah.
incredible, Don. It was really good.
Oh, thanks so much. Great to hear that. Yeah, it's a wonderful play, and it is a roller. That's they even call it the ride of your life. And they have a picture of a roller coaster because it takes everybody, the characters, through all the ups and downs of these two couples through their friendship, which lasts 30 something years. So all the different stages of life, and when they first meet, as friends, they're maybe they don't even have kids, and then we see them when their lives go into that phase with children, and then the kids
It was
leave.
relatable. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
Oh,
very relatable. If you have longtime friends and gone through that journey, or even if you don't aspire, it was wonderful uh,
yeah. I don't know
as actors to
I don't
watch.
know if it's possible to see that because they only had it on for a certain period of time. I'm not sure, but people, I
Yeah,
guess, if they Google Middletown live stream or streaming, maybe there's a way to see it.
yeah.
I'm hoping. I've done the play in several different cities, and I'm sure I'll be doing it again, and they'll probably do
I'll
that.
bring you to Canada. Come on. Bring it to
Yeah,
Canada.
it would be great up there. So,
So your
yeah,
headshot, you
yeah,
changed yourself, you changed your look, you decided we're not going to go into why you left Happy Days. That's okay. People can find that on the internet.
yeah.
So, you decided to make that change. You felt it took its course. What I always want to know from actors, when you're so popular in a specific role, how challenging was it for
Mm.
typecasting? Now you're, the red hair, which is very distinguished as well, and then so you're changing your look. How hard was it after you left Happy Days?
It was incredibly difficult. I knew, I'd heard stories, and I knew it was happening. It was a sided, double-edged sword, because the success was fabulous, and so many wonderful things that happened. But I wanted to have a career that would have longevity, and that I could do for the rest of my life, and not all of a sudden, not it's over. So, and that could happen, and it's happened to people. So I was very conscious of it, and it's one of the reasons I decided not to renew when my contract was over. And um, and I made it even harder on myself, because what I did was I told my agent at the time, I said, I don't want to do any television for a while, not any more TV. I said, I want to just do film and theater. And I did, because television back then, um, the dramas and everything weren't as like today. They make them. They have more time. They have more money behind it, and there's some great dramas on television. Back then, everything was done pretty fast, and you didn't have as much time to get it right. Preparation and shooting schedule, everything. So I felt like I wanted to try to do film and theater, and so I closed the doors on a lot of work that might have come my way. So I made it doubly hard, um, and because I went like 9 months, I had a really big agent, and I went back.
Yeah, I can hear
Okay.
you. Mhm.
Um, so I went 9 months. I couldn't even get an audition for a film. They wouldn't even see me, because oh no, the guy from Happy Days not right for this, not right
Oh,
for this.
darn.
You know. So, so then I told my agent, maybe a year passed. I said, okay, let's open the doors to television again. I did some theater during that period, which was great. I love doing theater. It's great, uh, to keep you sharp and keep that muscle going. And it's nothing as good as theater for actors.
Hmm.
And then I said, let's do some television. And, and I had to take some parts that I wasn't crazy about at first, but I just needed to start doing it again. And slowly I get chipped away. I'd get a part that was very different. Like I did early on, I did a role in Chips where I played a guy that was almost like a metal rock and roll guy, like from Kiss, with makeup and long hair, and it was very different. And so then somebody then cast me in. I did a TV movie, and it was still comedy, but it was different than totally different character than Ralph. And I remember I think that was helpful. And then several others that then led to I did Sliders, and then I got a Star Trek. A two-parter where I played sort of the villain in a Star Trek Voyager. And then a little bit later I did, yeah, there it is. And then I wound up getting a recurring role on Glee, where I played the father to the character of Emma. So that was, helpful. And then I started getting some independent films playing different kinds of roles. Oh, there was also one. I did a TV show called The Crow, where I played a psychiatrist. And then
Mm.
an independent film called The Yankles, where I played a retired ball player who's like a semi-alcoholic, is alienated with his son. So very different. So I
Yes.
think then these weren't big movies, but it was getting out there, and
How do you decide to say yes at that point? You're fighting so hard to get scripts. So how do you decide to say, you know what, it's really not in line with my character, or it's really not in line, like, but would you just do it, or would you still at that point go, yeah, I see it, but I just want to do it just to get my name out there? Like, what happened at that point?
well, I mean, the material is the main is for me is the first thing. Then it's like, well, who's directing it and who else is in it, and or who's it for. So you take all those things into consideration, and and where you are at that particular point.
Hmm.
So if I saw it as a sort of a stepping stone in some way, and also I needed to make a living too. So sometimes you take something that you might not think is as great as you're hoping it would be, but it's work, and still there's some other good things about it. There's enough good things about it that I could, if it's something I really didn't like, I thought it was for whatever reason, then I wouldn't have done it. Uh,
Hmm.
but so there were things I turned down, um, but then there were enough. Like I said, it was if I could find something that was a stepping stone that could could open, chipping away at the preconceived image of who I was from Happy Days. And
Right.
so all these things, it took time. And then I did some more theater. I did the Broadway tour of Grease. You mentioned Grease. I did the Broadway tour of the Tommy Tune production of Grease. I did a bunch of other plays in LA and some in different parts of the country. And then more independent films. And then as of late, in the last 5 years, it's when it's really where I've really gotten some interesting roles in films that have given me a chance to really break away. And a film called Lost Heart that I did about 2, 3 years ago now. And it's on Amazon Prime. And it's a really nice film and a really good part. I play a small town pastor in it. And
Mm.
and I won a nice award for that at the Orlando Christian Film Festival. It's not really a
Supporting actor, right?
best supporting actor in a feature film
Hmm.
for that festival, yeah. And it's not really a Christian film, but it's not a religious film, but the values are in accord with that
Right.
festival's things.
And
You
you've
know,
been in Hallmark films and things like that as well,
yeah,
right?
yeah. I did a Lifetime Christmas movie that
Yeah.
was just out this last Christmas called Holiday in Santa Fe. But yeah, so it's just a good movie with those values are
Nice.
are in are in keeping with the Christian values. So but it's a really good film. And then I did I did that, and then going from a pastor, then I did a film called Cult Cartel, where I play a polygamist. So I love that. I love the dichotomy. And then
We
I
were
went.
we were talking about that before the show, going, gee, I wonder when you submitted
What
for
they might have
this.
thought of that. Yeah, right. But that's what I love, playing all different kinds of roles.
Yeah.
And then I got to play a king. I went to the Czech Republic, and we shot in these castles, and I'm playing a king. Um,
Oh, I saw that picture on everyone go to his Facebook. He's got that in his photos. Oh my
yeah,
gosh, you were like dressed up in everything.
yeah,
It was, yeah.
so much fun. And then I play a prison guard. And so in
Right.
another film called When George Got Murdered, which should be coming out sometime soon. So
If you
yeah,
don't
so
mind, if you don't mind
yes.
me asking, so I had your friend Linda Pearl on as my guest, and for those that don't know, Linda Pearl, absolutely lovely lady, and
Oh,
again, I sense a Happy Days theme, but she was the Fonz's girlfriend.
right.
She was the single mom, but you're also friends in real life, and I also noticed that you went on tour singing together, and you share that passion. But
Hmm.
one of the things that I asked her, and I wanted to ask you as well, is it was a different time. Nowadays, to be a triple threat, to be on TV, to be on movies, to be on theater, to be, all those different things is actually celebrated. And you get that on your IMDb, or you get that on your resume, and you're like, wow, you are like a triple threat. You are a force to be reckoned with. But back then, and what I asked her was, did you have any challenges going between TV or movie? Like you said, he's a TV, forget it, he's TV, he's not movie. And
Hmm.
it was really frowned upon to have that crossover to be TV and movies. Did you find that as you were
Oh,
making your way?
yeah. That's why I think when I said to my agent, I don't want to do television back, this was 1980, 81. I just wanted, it was for that reason, because I felt that we were looked upon as sort of in a different level as the movie actors, and where today, like you're saying, today it's very different. Now there's a bridge between those mediums. People go back and forth between TV, film. Film actors do TV, and the TV actors and doing movies, and there's less of a distinction or disparity like there was back then. It was looked upon different, like movies were up here, and then television might have been there, and
Hmm.
theater was somewhere over here. I don't know. Um,
Yeah. And
it, it,
when did you bring your singing back then? Because that as you said, that was your true love. So at what point now you've established your career again, you're happy, you're in love, you married one of your co-stars,
yeah, she was a guest
and
star in Happy Days.
oh,
The
she
one,
was a guest star. Yes,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
right. And
yeah.
congratulations on that. You're still
Thank
still together, and your two lovely daughters. Yes.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, yeah. Earn anniversary coming up. 40, number 40.
Oh my gosh, congratulations.
Thank you.
At
Um,
what so when did you segue into being a director?
but you were asking something right before that I wanted to address.
Oh, the
Oh,
the crossover of the triple threat.
yeah. Well, like I said, I pecked away at, I say
Mhm.
it's my first love. I don't know about true love. I
Yeah.
say it's my first love because I love acting
Okay.
equally.
Yes.
But the crossover, it was gradual. It was pecking away at it, and then, like I mentioned, that now things are, there's less of a you know perception, a difference in perception between the two mediums. So it's gotten easier, and so I'm hoping to, I have several projects I'm trying to get going. you mentioned directing. I've directed 3 independent films. One is called The Last Best Sunday, which I think is on Tubi. Very dramatic, really interesting story. Mainly two characters, but not solely. And Last Best Sunday, and then a film called Mula, which is on Amazon as well, and where I cast Shailene Woodley in her first film, and she's gone on to be pretty big now, and a lot of other great people in that great cast.
Mhm.
And then a family film called Harley's Hill. But I have like three or four film projects that I'm trying to get set up, and I'm getting closer and closer on a few of them, and a TV series I'm trying to get set up. So I want to be on that side again as a director, producer, only as a means to getting it done. I'm not
Mm,
so much into, but I'm acting as a producer in terms of trying to get it all the pieces put together so I can direct it.
I
And
see.
that's where, because I love the directing as well. So we'll see what happens. I have a couple of really good projects um, that could be very exciting. And on the acting side, I want to keep that going because I had such a great couple of these last 2 years where it was like all these different roles, and I want to keep that going for sure. So we'll see. To direct some, act some, and then the singing. I decided about 7 years ago because I've always loved that music, the great, what it's called the Great American Songbook, or the standards. And I loved it with the jazz bent. So it was, for me, it was the jazz standards and swing and big band and, kind of like the Sinatra songbook. And I wound up I put together an act about 7 years ago because I said, if I ever am going to do it again, I better start. I wasn't getting younger, and started doing jazz clubs in LA and New York, and the response was great. And that led to me doing a CD, which is out called D Mostly Swinging, and with a great big band of LA musicians, jazz guys, and it swings, and I'm on the almost, yeah, there I am on stage at one of the jazz clubs, and I'm in the middle of doing a new CD, and probably going to finish it in about a month or so, with a producer in Nashville, and I'm really excited about this one, and that'll come out sometime this year. And I performed with my first symphony a few months ago with in Hershey, Pennsylvania, with the Hershey Symphony, and so I've
How
been.
how many in that symphony? That must have been an
Oh,
incredible
it was
experience.
it was amazing. There were 55 musicians, which was just insane.
Wow.
The feeling was like just. I love a big band, and I've done that many times. With the traditional big band in the jazz setting is like 17, 18 pieces, and I've done that, and it's a major high. And then getting with the symphony was like, now I was like, in a different universe.
I had intended to put up your album cover, but I actually have that in the credits for you. But
Okay.
if I can post this photo again, only because when I saw it, you look like you are in your element and just so happy.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I think there's nothing like it when there's great musicians behind me, and great arrangements and great songs. Um, it is a major high for me. Uh, I love it so much, and yeah, people say that, they go, it's just so evident how joyous you become when you're doing that, and I think because it was my first love, as I say, and I was doing it. You showed that picture of me doing it when I was 14, 15 years old. So it's like in that music I've listened to my whole life. So it's like in my blood, and yeah, I have a big, great passion for it.
So
Definitely.
keeping in line with the inspiring change and what this show is about is speaking with everyone who's overcome adversity and how they turned that into opportunity. So knowing now, if you had known then, what would you tell younger Donnie?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I guess I think what I would say is, there's a reason for these things that are basically different steps in your journey, and where I wanted it right away, and I wanted to go right from Happy Days into becoming like becoming a major film actor, and it didn't happen right away, but I feel like it's been doing this. Here, I'll get it on camera. These kind of steps, as opposed to going from here to there. You had to go to this before you can get to this, and maybe from there, you had to go down here a little bit in order then to have the growth, like you talk about. It's some of those difficulties and challenges uh, bring growth in ways that you wouldn't have had if it happened sooner. Everyone's different, and they all have to have their paths will have different shapes to it. But I would tell the younger self that enjoy it all and learn from every experience and appreciate it. Appreciate what you have at the time, and really, take it all in, and don't take things for granted. And it's all part of the journey, and have patience.
And how do you find it now with the way of technology and social media, how your business is done so much differently compared to how it used to be?
Yeah, well, I guess in this pandemic, we certainly saw that. And one of the projects that when we met on the Zoom uh, party for viral vignettes, which was a project that a producer named David Levin brought to me. I had worked with David several years ago. He brought a project to me and Anson Williams, and we did this short film called Harvest Time, where we played very different characters than Happy Days, very different. And then we
Side note, everybody, please go on Instagram and vote for that. Dawn has posted that, and I shared it. And if you're expecting Happy Days vocabulary, by gosh golly gee,
well,
nope.
yeah, worlds apart from
You're you're
Happy
the
Days.
you're the guy that we love to hate, actually. I mean, I wanted
Yeah,
to like you, but
I know it's hard to
good
like it.
job.
Hard to like that guy. Yeah, it's a dark comedy, and people. Yeah, if you go on Instagram, I posted about it, and then you can go. It's part of a. It's in a festival right now. It's running in the Barrymore Film Festival, so the link is there. You can go to it and then look for Harvest Time, because they're screening all the films so that you could see it. And so this same producer, David Levin, came to me right when the pandemic was starting and said, I have a project, an idea, since we all want to continue doing something. And nobody was leaving their house. But he came up with an idea of viral vignettes and putting two actors together in different episodes, shorts, where you do it. We were shooting it from on our computer through like a Skype or something. And it was scripted, but it was two characters who would think of a one act play, and we were like doing it, but it was being shot through our computers, and we didn't have to go anywhere. And then the next episode was two other actors, and then but some of them were interlinked, so I wound up being in 3 episodes of the 11 viral vignette episodes, and I directed another one. With that, I directed Linda Pearl and Lydia Cornell. So that is now being, David Levin has submitted those, and it's won a bunch of awards. It's winning a lot of awards, and I won one recently, a Best Actor for that one too, in a different festival. And but the episodes are winning, and it turned out it was like necessity is the mother of invention kind of thing. It was because of the situation we were in. It led to finding a different way of doing it, and it's really quite effective. And um, I'm curious to see it. We're hoping that all this attention that it's getting at festivals will maybe get it distributed on one of the network platforms, whatever you call them, and maybe even lead to doing more of them. So check out viral vignettes. You could Google that,
Hmm.
and you could learn about it. I don't know if any of those are being screened right now because they're all in festivals. So
Oh
they're
no, Donnie, I'm just having everybody go back to you. So they can find you on Instagram. You're really good at it. So,
okay.
I'm
Great.
trying to help encourage your social media there,
Oh,
which was
thank
why
you.
we had that question.
Okay.
So, so going back to what you said was, everything has just kind of been very like equal, like it's been, peaks and valleys and just kind of been steady in terms of the career. But nowadays, going back to social media, and you've got these young kids, or sorry, people, and they're becoming internet stars by luck, right? But there's no there would you say, like, no discredit to them, but it's just in a different learning curve, right? Like it's
I guess
consistency.
I'm not as up on, who are these stars, these social, because of social media and
Hmm.
for reasons that maybe it's different reasons. You know, luck, that's a tricky thing. I mean, sometimes I think, luck is part of probably everything. And how do you define luck? Do you make your own luck? Why is one person lucky? I mean, who knows? Those are like unanswerable. But I think what it is that maybe some people are becoming famous for different reasons. Now, whether we consider those reasons as weighty and as significant and meaningful as other reasons, that's for people to make their own assessment. I don't know, but maybe the people who are becoming stars on internet, we don't know. Maybe they worked really hard to find out how to
True.
do it, and figure out how to do this and that. And I mean, they're probably the ones that maybe blindly did it, didn't know what the hell they were doing, and so I don't know. I don't. It's hard. I don't want to judge that because I don't know
No, no,
their
it's not.
journey.
No, it's not. It's not a way in terms of judgment. It's just actually where I'm going with that is how could you mentor someone like that actually
Oh,
because of because of your longevity of the
oh,
career. So someone has had
sorry.
success. Sorry, I wasn't clear on that. So
I'm
they've had success from that. How could you make that a coachable moment for them to continue on that journey with your
oh,
experience of acting and as a
I,
director? If they're like, wow, I've got the success. How do I keep that going? What
I
what
see.
what would be a hot tip that you would probably give them in your career?
Oh, okay. That's, yeah, very interesting question. Um, I would say if they're young, to try to learn. It depends on what is their goal, what is in their heart and the passion of what they really want to do. If they want to keep doing what they're doing, make sure, just obviously learning as much as you can about all the different fields that might be involved in what they're doing. Maybe they need to be good to go out and take an acting class, or maybe go out and learn editing in a professional way, or learn marketing, to so that you could have longevity, so you could have some real skills to back up what you're doing, that what you've already learned through intuition and through some, some good efforts involved. Now keep it going by learning as much as you can about all the sort of peripheral fields that you're in or that you're pursuing.
Have you ever thought about teaching a master class? Because I think Ron Howard, you may or may not know this guy.
That name sounds familiar.
It sounds
Rings a
familiar.
bell. Yeah,
I recall he was offering a master class
yeah,
for
yeah.
directing. Is that anything you ever considered?
I've done a little bit of, you know, a little bit to this one high school drama class. I had it was just a 1 day teaching thing, and then for somebody, a friend of mine, I did one on video for something that might get out there one of these days. So it depends. In the right situation, I would do it. If I was, I don't know. I'd have to see what it was for, and and how much time it would take and what my schedule is and all that, you know.
Of course. So I know that you have another interview after this. So in our last 3 minutes
Yeah.
together, my goodness, this went so fast. Are you still friends with everybody today? Are you still in contact with the old gang, if you will?
Well, Anson Williams and I are best friends, and I spoke to him just an hour ago, you know, and I spoke to him yesterday. I mean, we talk 4 times a week, and we get together a lot, you know, so we're like best friends, which is awesome. Um, Everyone else, you know, yeah, we're still in touch. I don't see them as often. Ron lives on the East Coast, and he comes out here a lot, but he's a busy guy. But we stay in touch through email and get on the phone once in a while, and I'll see him, you know, for lunch once a year, that kind of thing. Maybe a little more some years. And Henry, you know, we stay in touch. We have to get together. I haven't seen him in a little while, so. Mary and Ross, I saw not that, you know, well, it's like 9 months ago or a year. So, but the pandemic also got in the way of getting together. But yeah, we stay in touch. It's like we were like family. So it's kind of like your aunt or your cousins who you might go a period of time without seeing, but you know, you might not see them in 2 years, but then if you see them, it's like old times, you know, it's that same kind of feeling.
And you know, there's a lot of nostalgia going on. Everything old is new again in terms of, you know, like shows like Friends that have come and done reunions. Any
Mhm.
luck for any Happy Days fans to maybe have a Happy Days reunion? Can we
Uh,
put that out in the universe? Would you do one?
yeah. Yeah, probably. We did a couple of these reunions years ago. We did like two that were on television. Um, One might have been in the '90s, late, I can't remember, and then another one in 2005 or something like that. So, yeah, yeah, if the circumstances were right, I would definitely be open to it, consider it, and it'd be fun. It would be fun, sure.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, you know, everyone, that's our show for today. Dawn, I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart again for saying yes.
Oh, my
And
pleasure.
is
My
there any final tip or any final word that you want to give in this last minute?
no real tips or anything. I'll just say it was great talking with you, and I hope to be doing a lot more acting and directing, singing. So for me, this is like a new chapter. You know, I'm at a new chapter which I'm excited about, and I think getting older has helped. Getting away from the thing we were talking about, the being typecast. I guess I'm at a totally different age bracket now, and there's more separation. So I feel like the best is yet to come. So we'll leave on that note.
That is the best note. The best
Yeah.
is yet to come. That
Yeah.
is, and of course, the love of family. That's what keeps you grounded for sure.
Oh my God, yes. Without my wife Morgan and our kids, yeah, I wouldn't be in this place, and I'd be I'd be on that what we're calling it. Well, whatever. It would be a struggle. I would be struggling a lot more if not for them.
I'm also about empowering women. So we have two things that we got to say before we go, before we sign off. Your niece has a clothing company.
My niece.
Doesn't
Has,
your niece have a clothing company? You posted about that.
oh, oh, that was a while ago. I don't think she's got that
Oh
anymore.
darn, because I was going to say that looked really great because that was about empowering women. And then
Yeah.
the second thing is your wife, your lovely bride,
Yes.
Morgan, you are working on a project together. Can you just tell that give us quickly what we can do about and how we can support that?
Yeah. We have several together, but one that we're working on right now. Morgan Morgan has a blog that she started called. She was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease 20 years ago, and she started writing about it, and it was great. It's called My Life with Parkinson's, Morgan Most. So you could look up that blog, and the reaction that she got to it was so enthusiastic and positive, because she was doing it with you'll see it, there's a lot of humor in the way she perceived these experiences that she had with her Parkinson's. It was informative, but very entertaining and funny at the same time. And people were responding to it so positively that saying you should do something with it. So we've adapted that into a potential TV series, and it's coming along great. We're really excited about it, and some people are going to be looking at it very shortly, and so we'll see where that goes. It would be awesome to get that going.
I would love to have Morgan as our guest here, because that sounds very inspirational. Part of this journey, if you're just joining us for Inspiring Change, is my story of survival from domestic abuse. And of course, right now, going through with my mom, working through stage 4 cancer, where she was told she only had 6 months. And here she is now 3 years later, working really hard to survive stage 4 cancer. So, we always are here to share inspiring stories, because we are all going through something. We all have a story. And Dawn, thank you so much for sharing your time. Thank you to your lovely wife, Morgan, for doing that. And definitely, everybody, please check out her podcast, or her blog. And watch, and well, maybe she'll come out with a podcast. Watch for her blog and the show. So again, Dawn, thanks so much. As he says, the best is yet to come.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much, Shannon.
Thank you. Good night, everybody. Take care.